Hi everyone and welcome to episode 3. Today we will be joined by former world-champion boxer Padraig McCrory. Hello everyone and welcome to our 3rd episode of our Newhill Football Club podcast. Delighted to be joined by local boxer and local celebrity, Padraig McCrory. Padraig, you're very welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thanks for coming. I had Billy Joe Burns on a few episodes ago, and he genuinely hates these, but you love these, don't you?
No.
This is right up your street.
You know what? I actually do like talking about myself, so it's all right.
Oh, brilliant.
Although he's a big active fellow.
Yeah.
He's one of the best Irish players ever. So.
He's some career. It took some persuasion to get Billy Joe on, to be fair. When the episode went out, the amount of people that contacted me and said, "How on earth did you get Billy Joe to agree to it?"
I think it's only fair because he played for Newhill through his youth, didn't he?
He did.
So
did you, but you've played for Newhill too. I'm going to get to that later on the podcast, buddy, so I'm not letting you away with
that. For every team.
Badly. So no, look, listen, thanks very much for coming today. I know you get asked to do a lot of these sort of interviews and sort of podcasts, and after a while they're probably a bit monotonous, so I do appreciate it. Thank you. As I do with the previous guests, I just want to go back to basically where it all began, growing up in West Belfast, and how sort of those early days of a young boy and into teenage years got you into boxing, and what made you sort of get into boxing at an early age.
Yeah, so I think initially I first went to boxing kind of when I was about 9 or 10 with my dad and my brother up to Newhill. It was actually Newhill like boxing.
Right, okay.
With Tony. So we only went for about a month, but they really enjoyed it. And then I stopped for ages, and then a big group from St James's, the likes of D. Walsh, Rue Dalton, Twins, and the Robert Devane, they used to go to boxing every week or 3 or 4 times a week, but they get picked up right outside my door in a bus by Big Robbie. So it's Robert Devane's dad, and they asked me to go one night, and we all went to St Agnes, and then kind of I just stuck with it. Me, Dee and Marie, they kind of stuck with it, and the rest just sort of they fell away. But St James's, like, as a community, I think was the reason why I got like into boxing.
Right, okay. Talk to me about that, actually, because I know St James's, I grew up in sort of Ballymurphy, Turf Lodge, and St James's would have been very similar, sort of a hard working class, sort of tough community, which I actually, looking back now as an adult, it was brilliant for us, because it makes you sort of the man you are, sort of 20, 25 years old.
Of course. It gives you something about you. It gives you, like, it makes you, like, as you say, like the man you are, it's your character, it's your being, really.
Bit of resilience in it.
Yeah. And St James's, I just remember growing up, we live at like an interface, and I can remember kind of like the wee huts at the bottom of the street and all, like the big watch and like make sure there's no rats and stuff. And then you had the Bog Meadow. We spent a lot of days in the Bog Meadow building huts and running the grass, but like great memories from a community that have stuck by me through like my whole boxing career. I haven't lived there now in like 10 or 11 years, but as a community, for me, it's the best in the country. And a big part of that, there was Limbo Lindsay, and when he moved away to Australia when we were younger, he was a big loss to the community because he was a youth worker, and the work that he done for us growing up and giving us something to do outside of like hanging about like the interface. Was work that you only realise now how important it is.
Limbo, like I would sort of, don't know him that well, obviously I didn't grow up, but I know I would yarn about him and he wouldn't pass you, to be fair, and there's so many people like Limbo and other communities, and particularly in St James's, and they do so much good work, you don't realise it, and you often wonder where our generation would have been without people like Limbo. And as you say, as you get a bit older now, you appreciate it, but probably he's seen he was obviously older than us, and he's seen the thing, and he says, I want to try and keep them lads away from it. And even St James's Football Club, Limbo was
massive part of it.
He started that, or I think he was one of the founders of it. To get, I watched the thing when Limbo got, I think it wasn't sports personality, it was I think it was Unsung Hero.
Unsung Hero,
and that's what it was.
And that's really what it is. Like they're like the work he does in the community is extremely undervalued and probably like underfunded and underpaid as well. But he does it because he loves it.
Yeah, no, and he like I can remember watching the sort of montage of the clips, and I'm not too sure who it was. I know Toad was on saying a few words, but there was another lad, and I can't remember who it was, but he was basically saying that their first training, or one of the early trainings, there was some of the lads were actually fired at. It's actually somebody come on. He said this on the so it's not. I'm not speaking in the school. No. It was on the. He says that one of the guys were fired at, and it was only for Limbo. It says no, just keep coming. You know, we'll get them away in the antisocial behaviour. Like, so it's people like that. As you say, it's invaluable.
Yep.
And then you started you went there 9, 10, boxing, and then you started competing, sort of amateur or.
I know. So we only went for about a month at like a young age of 9 or 10, but then we started again. I started again at around 14 at St Agnes, with, as I said, like all the lads, like mostly Rory and D, like were the ones that stuck about. Frankie McCourt then was our coach. Again, done a lot of work for no money, just like for the love of boxing, and then it kind of like grew like with us as well. So I started competing. I was probably only in there about 2 months, and I had my first fight. And then from then it was just like fighting nearly every week. And like in the amateurs, you went to, it's like a club show. You went to a different club in a bar, and you fought every week. Yeah. And so I competed from I was 14 until maybe about 17, and then I started socialising and going out, and I fell away from it on and off and on and off.
You met your wife and want to play with
I met my wife, but no. In fairness, she's been a massive advocate for me to get. So when I stopped boxing, she was always like, get back at it, and a big driving force like behind that. But yeah, listen, I fell away from it for a few years, but amateur boxing has a massive part to play, I think, and probably like in schooling as well. Like I think boxing can be taught in schools and can be, because it gave me, as much as I said I fell away from it, but I could have got caught up in so much more if I didn't have boxing. Like, as I say, St James is it's a great area, but it's very rough.
Yeah.
Like antisocial behaviour, drink, drugs, like whatever you know. I've friends that have died from like drug overdoses and from suicide down to like addiction and stuff. So boxing gave me that sort of
escape almost.
Yeah, like drive and focus, and I knew that I couldn't do them things because I wanted to box.
Yeah.
Sports in general, sport like soccer as well. Like it gives young kids and people like myself a focus to not go down the wrong path.
No, I spoke to Billy Joe. We done his podcast a few weeks ago, and like. So he was telling a story at sort of 16, I think it was 16, he then made the move to the Blues. And I'd asked him, and you know Billy, a long time as well, he'd be very modest, and so would you in fairness, it was something giggle, but like at what age did you, like when you were sort of 17, 18, 19, did the penny ever drop, think, I'm actually okay at this, I can maybe earn a few bob, or did that just never come into it? Was it all about trying to win a few trophies, or just maybe, was it about trying to almost sort of defend yourself, if that's the right term?
I think definitely boxing, and obviously boxing as a sport, it's a fighting sport. You fight. I'm going to Corpus Christi with the speech impediment as well. Like it wasn't easy, but once I started boxing, I became like decent at it. People started to know, and not that I ever got bullied or anything like that, like or even
with the jokes probably
slagged or yeah, but it made people aware that I was able, if anything started, then to defend myself.
I wasn't actually going. To bring that up, but I'm glad you've just touched on it. The speech impediment that you've had. Like I know you now a long, long time, and I can remember when I first we were friends that it was fairly obvious, and you know
Mm.
you still have it at times, but
Yeah.
you're like there's times that you would do interviews. There was times like we would sit and chat for half an hour, and there wouldn't be any sign of it.
Yeah.
Like how difficult was that? Like growing up 12, like Corpus Christi, as I say, tough school, West Belfast in general, tough area. Like, how was that growing up? And you know,
Even now, like, especially in boxing, like, I think I worried more about doing like press conferences and interviews and stuff like that than I actually did like about the fight.
Mhm.
But as I say, like growing up in West Belfast, especially because my speech impediment was definitely worse, and I've kind of taught myself ways of like stopping it,
Mhm.
and it's not perfect,
Yeah, yeah.
but
Oh, it's
but
definitely improved.
definitely better, yeah. But difficult. Like it was, you were always like worried about speaking up and asking for help. Like
Mhm.
I think I remember in third year I asked like the head of year if I could get some help, and he said yes, leave it with me, and I never heard back, and then I never asked again. So,
Mhm.
but thankful, well, not thankfully, because there was another three or four like friends of mine like they had the same in the area, and I was never really joked or slagged about. So again, it wouldn't overly matter, but uh, getting slags never nice. You know what I
No,
mean?
no, it doesn't matter.
So
Yeah,
so
doesn't
yeah,
matter. I grew up. I grew up in West Belfast having red hair. Trust me, I get tortured no matter whether it was school,
Mm,
football, whatever.
mm,
But again, I think I think them sort of not harsh because we were always happy. We never
mm.
had a harsh upbringing, but it was like I always think this generation of kids growing up are very, I wouldn't say soft, but I would say more protected. You know,
Yeah, no, definitely.
we were the, you know, you would have got slagged about anything, the shoes you were wearing,
Yeah,
the obviously having ginger hair. But I also think that gives you a good bit of steel, a good bit of resilience where when you go into, you know, sort of 19, 20, 25, 30, it sort of, as I said
yeah.
earlier, it makes you a bit more resilient where, you know, I say
It's-
what you want, don't really care.
I I think you're right, and like you even look at like football, like for kids. Now you're going and the stadium's packed full of parents, and
Yeah.
like when I used to go to football, it was me on a bus and where you went. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's it. Yeah, I
Your
know where you
boots
went.
where you go. So like
Yeah.
I like as much as I love being involved in like with my kids and their sports and their like and their hobbies, but times are definitely changing.
You have to like Clare. I remember when Tiernan was playing, like you know what Clare's like
Yeah,
with Tiernan, and he was playing 14, 15, whatever age he was, and some kid basically milled him like,
yeah,
and for fairness, the Tiernan would be like you could break Tierran's leg, he would go
yeah,
and walk away. He
yeah.
wouldn't let you see that you've
Fair.
hurt him. And the kid come in and milled him anyway. And like Clare was going to climb the fence. Like, would you relax one when it's
I
football?
know.
It's a contact sport. And I did catch him to be fair, but
Yeah,
he was ready to kill him. Like,
right.
and as you say, like when we were playing, it was you, your team, and your coaches. Now my daddy, to be fair, would have went to a lot of my games. In fairness to him, and would have went to Tony's games and stuff like. But and mummy's just never really
Yeah,
back then went to football or sport. Like, it was never the thing. But it's definitely changing. And then there was an incident happened, and just crack me on these details because I don't have the details spot on. I think where you'd qualified to go to the Commonwealths,
yeah,
and then for whatever reason you had to do a rematch,
yeah,
and you still feel that you won that rematch
yeah,
even though you shouldn't have had it,
yeah, yeah.
and you didn't get the decision. Tell me about that.
All right. So the Ulster Elites are essentially a qualifier for like the Quarter Commonwealth Games. So that so the year 2012, 2010, I think it was in Glasgow, 2010. I was the only Ulster Elite champion that didn't go to Commonwealth Games. Um, so in fairness, it's a 4 year cycle. I wasn't about for the 4 years. As I said, I stopped boxing for
Hmm.
like a long period of time. So there's a cycle. They have their team sort of picked, and they know that if they win the Ulster Elites, then they're definitely going.
Hmm.
So I entered the Ulster Elites on like 3 or 4 weeks training, and I won them. Got 3 fights in a week, and I won them. I beat a guy called Sean McGlinchey, who I'm actually friendly with now. But at the time, it was like
You beat him in the pros, didn't you?
Yeah, I fought him in
Aye.
the pros.
I
Yeah,
remember
So
that.
I've fought him 3 times now. So I thought I qualified. So I get out of the ring at the Europe Hotel on the night, and I was told that I'm going to Commonwealth Games. Um, and then and then the Ulster board had a meeting, and this is something as well. Actually, there's a big uproar at the minute that they're saying that the Ulster Council are sectarian, and aren't picking certain people because of their religions. But this was me, like as a Catholic. I fought a Catholic, so there was nothing sectarian
It's
about it.
irrelevant.
Yeah, so I think that point getting brought up at the minute is wrong. But yeah, but like I said, that I came down to a vote. They voted that I had to have a box off with the guy that I just beat. And when that happened, it was a sign that they didn't want me to go.
And why was it? You think because maybe you did drop out of it and
Yeah.
there and but
Probably because I wasn't in the
politics.
cycle. Internal politics. So
Yeah.
Derry Donegal said had a lot of sway and they won the Ulster Council and they had like the most votes. So when it came to the vote that I had to have a box off, they obviously had like the majority of the vote and that happened. So then I had to fight him again. I fought him and he won, and I thought the first fight was close. I thought I beat him more in the second fight. And he went to Commonwealth Games and he got a bronze medal. So then we both same pro with the same guy, like the same promoter, Kieran Farrell. I mean they're fighting again in the pros, but yeah, like amateur boxing can be more on who you are than what you can actually do.
Yeah. It's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah,
isn't it,
exactly.
really? It's and then am I right in saying then after that you didn't box for a few years, you just fell in love with it and thought you felt probably aggrieved and rightly so, and you just thought, I've had enough.
It wasn't years. It wasn't years. It was probably a year actually. Yeah. And then I just thought it's either do I stay amateur and try and go to the next Commonwealth Games, which would have brought us to 2018, maybe 2014, or do I go pro? And I knew if I had stayed in the cycle, that I would have been too old then to go pro after that.
Yeah.
And Kieran Farrell had just signed like Jared Healy and Joe Hillerby and a few lads from Belfast, and he was putting on a show. So I contacted him. I contacted him and Mark Dunlop as well, actually. Then and Kieran got back to me, and he flew over, and then I signed pro with him. But again, I never foreseen how my career was going to go. It took off. It took off. My ambitions was probably the main event, and like I've said this before, main event in the Davnish for an Irish title, and I felt that was my ceiling. But yeah,
you've said it before. Like I think you've been very, very open and honest about it. You've openly said it. Like I've overachieved in my career. Like I never. You've just mentioned there. I think you always were happy in an Irish title, maybe a British title shot or whatever. But to do what you've done in your career, to go 18 fights unbeaten, win a world title in the process, and then obviously we'll touch on obviously your headlines. You headline 4 venues, Germany, Florida, SSE and Falls Park.
Perfect.
So to do that for somebody that and you came to the pro game late. It was 29.
29. My first fight I think was 10 days before my 29th birthday, or 10 days before my 30th birthday probably.
SSE ran Burnett undercard. It was. I think that was the start of it, because I think there was. I think for your debut, I think it was probably, I want to say, about 200 people.
220 people. Yeah.
220 people. So like for a debut, for somebody to go down. Obviously, Ryan Burnett was I think he won the world title. I
was the world title. I was
beat
first
Ryan Haskins.
Lee Haskins.
Lee Haskins, sorry.
Yeah, Lee Haskins.
And I can remember going down, and the atmosphere was brilliant. I think you were on maybe second fight there.
Yeah.
And so obviously the arena was empty, and like we were loud.
Yeah.
And probably have to put a bit of it down to James Braniff. Like he was like an orchestra. He was brilliant. And
another former Newhill legend.
Yeah, James
Braniff,
probably I would love to get James on. James would have,
Yeah, he is a storyteller.
some stories.
Yeah.
The problem is you probably need a longer podcast to get James on. The story that man has, but I always remember the debut and the support. I can always think to myself, because it's incredible for his first fight,
Yeah.
and as you said, it just went like that afterwards
Yeah.
because people kind of, not saying jumped on the bandwagon, but they seen it and they seen the atmosphere it was going, and then it was, to get that, to get a debut in the SSE,
I was very lucky, actually.
the biggest boxing venue at the time. Well, probably still is.
Still,
actually, in
still,
Belfast.
yeah.
I mean, talk to me about that. Like, so you're backstage, we're obviously all out in the crowd, and you're coming there. When's the nerves kicking? Are you nervous doing the ring walk? Are you nervous in the change rooms? Like,
Definitely in the changing room.
yeah, is that?
As I'm walking out to the ring, like, yous are all sitting up to the left.
Yeah.
So, like, the walk out is like down the corner, and I hear the noise, and I'm like, right me, it's mad. It's
What's
mad,
going
like, surreal. And like, I look up and I see he's all going, like, insane, and that just tells you there nearly, like, you, like.
So that would help you actually with the nerves.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if that would have went the other way.
And it could probably work like different, like, for someone else, but like for me, I thrived in that. And again, like, we'll go on to speak about like my last fight. But that walk and the spark that it gave me, I was hoping that I would have got that like my last fight, and I didn't. But then the feeling, it was like I was blown away because, like, as you say, signing pro at a late age, with not much sort of like amateur sort of standard stuff that like to go behind it, but thankfully Kieran had the connections with Matchroom. So Kieran Paul,
he was quite good with you, to be fair, wasn't he?
yeah,
Kieran?
yeah, and
in
fairness, he tortured the likes of Frank Smith and whatever else to get me like on that card and a slot in that card, which I think had a big part in how my career went as well. Because if I had started in Danish, I probably would have sold 50 tickets.
Yeah,
at the SSC, I'd done 220, and I created something.
Yeah,
that night. So yeah,
and I think your second or third fight was back in the Danish.
2 and 3,
2 and 3, and like you filled the place was wrong. And was it your second or third fight you knocked the guy?
Third fight, Money Big.
You knocked him, and that was like I remember being there, and the roar was deafening.
Yeah,
I mean, you literally folded the guy, and the roar. I mean, you near took the roof of the place.
I think if you watch it back, and I watched it like many times, but you hear the thud, boom, and then for a split second it's like flat noise, and then it's like, whoa.
That must be the sweetest feeling in the world when you throw that punch, and because I'm assuming you obviously feel it, right? Yeah. And you've caught him right, and it just must be boom.
I turned and walked, and they kind of celebrated and looked back, and my first thought was like, Frey, I hope he's okay.
He didn't look okay, to be fair.
No. But a great feeling, and again, I've now done 3 of my own shows in Danish, but a great venue, low ceilings, atmosphere is loud, and that went viral, which led to me getting signed by MTK and Jimmy Conlon, which then brought me to the next level in my career. Kieran had no intention of coming back to Belfast anyway, so.
Yeah, and I think also Kieran, if I remember, we spoke about this. Like, Kieran was very good with you, and it wasn't like there was no grievance. It was kind of like, look, I'm going to take you to a bigger platform. And
I signed with him, and the shortest term that you sign for is for 3 years, and I signed, and he could have, if he wanted, he could have said, no, you're not going anywhere.
Yeah,
and like, in fairness, he says, no, go ahead, and they let me go, and that was it.
Yeah, I know, it was because I can remember speaking to him very, very vaguely, and he always came up. He always, I don't want to have a go at promoters, but not all promoters have the boxer's best interest at heart. They're for a few quid, and rightly so. It's a business, and I'm all for that. But he genuinely seemed, because he was a boxer.
Yeah,
I think he got injured. My right said he got injured.
Yeah, brain injury against Anthony Crawley.
Was that who it was?
Yeah, a really good fight.
Yeah.
Kieran was really good. Kieran beat McConlon at the amateurs.
Did he?
Yeah, I think Mike beat him as well, though. Yeah,
he's
very good.
But he always seemed to have the fighters sort of first. And if he got a few bob after, then brilliant. But it was always we're not every promoter was like that. And then we'll talk on the promotional work sort of later in the podcast. You obviously mentioned there your last show, one of your fighters actually won the BUI,
Yeah.
which, if I remember rightly, that was your first
title, yeah.
Fela?
Falls Park, Steve Collins Jr.
Steve Collins Jr., yeah.
Hard fight.
Yeah, tough fight. It was probably, I've said this to you many a time, it was probably the first fight that I watched, and probably the only fight up until your first sort of loss, where I thought, oh, if this goes to points, we're in trouble here. Now, I'm not saying that was the case, but watching it live, you know yourself, watching boxing live, and watching it on the TV.
Well, you don't, like, I've watched loads of fights live, and people say, oh, he ain't won. And I never actually sit and score, because boxing scored round by round.
Yeah.
And, like, you can have kind of like a fight and watch it and think he's in top, but when you actually scored round by round, it can be different. I knew that I needed to win the last round.
Yeah.
But when I went back in the scorecards, I was 2 rounds up in all of them, so
yeah.
I scraped over the line. But
you probably would have got the points.
But I knew I needed to win the last round. And that was a great feeling though, because like under pressure, big fight, TNT Sports, first 8-round fight against a season pro. He was like 15-2. I was only 8-0.
Tough cookie.
Yeah, Steve, and like son of an Irish legend in Steve Collins Senior, who beat you back, who beat Ben. Yeah, so a bit of pressure in that fight, but I put it in the bag.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong here, but the build-up to it or something, you had mentioned, is that you had said you're only good because you're only here because you're daddy or whatever, and he went mad. Something like that, wasn't it?
Bad. I said something like he's trying to live up to his daddy's name or something, or his dad.
I can remember,
and it was actually, like, in a way, it was a compliment, but he didn't take it like that. And, and he said, like, in the press conference, if there's no one here, I get up and do you in, like.
No, I can remember, I can remember that was the first. I think it was the first McCollum show in the
Falls Park.
in the Falls Park of Philly, which again, like, it's surreal, because I actually remember saying to Claire, we were obviously there, and like I was saying, like 3 days ago we were walking our dog here, and now you're in like a purpose-built stadium, like that's on all our doorsteps. You know,
that's been the best one.
I would say so. I think that was the best one. There was a couple of other sort of Philly shows that on, and I don't know if it was to do with maybe didn't invest enough, or maybe they didn't earn enough off the TV, or who knows. But that one for me was brilliant. But yeah, no, it was a tough fight. And then, yeah, obviously, as I said earlier, you headlined the four venues, but I've been lucky enough to go to all your fights, and for me, the best one was Germany. Germany was incredible, and I had been in Liverpool the week before, and I had a very, very, very bad hangover. Very bad hangover.
These last for days for you,
so much so that I had to actually cancel my flight. And my wife wasn't in great terms with me. And when I said I'm going, the flights were already booked to Germany, and that was a interesting week in the house. but we went to but Germany for me was the best. The atmosphere, the whole sort of build up, what was on the line. There was a world title on the line, and just it was incredible. Talk me through the build up. That, buddy, I think it was your 18th. That was your 18th fight. I know I'm sort of skipping through your career a little bit, but that was your 18th fight. You were going there, Leon Bunn, India's home sort of backyard. What was the thing behind that? How did you,
Yes,
were you confident? Were you?
I moved up in weight as well for that fight, actually.
You did, actually?
Yeah, so like the way it fell was actually, it was perfect for us, because I've been training for 2 weeks, and on the Monday, we were going to announce that I was fighting for the EBU title in Galway, against a tough, like, French guy. And I got phoned on Saturday or Sunday, and was like, listen, we have this opportunity. It's a light heavyweight. It's for the IBO, the world title. It's in 6 weeks. What do you think? And I thought about it. I weighed everything up, and I was like, and I watched them, and I was like, it's probably just as hard as a fight. Bigger honor, bigger fight, more money for an IBO, like, world title. And I took the risk, and thankfully I had already been training them 2 weeks previous, getting ready for a fight. We stayed in, and we sold it like they coming off the couch and
Right, okay.
like the first offer came and we're like, okay, like we're interested in the fight, but he hasn't been training and
Big risk when he more money.
we need more money. Yeah, so Jimmy's good. He's a good negotiator.
Yeah, he's good.
So
Yeah,
so
good salesman.
it felt perfect. And then going to Germany and I'm bringing again about 130 people, and then there's another two Irish fellas on the bill, and they all stayed. So there was about
Kurt Walker was on the
was
bill.
on,
Who was the
yeah,
other boy?
Kieran Malloy.
Cameron Lloyd. So it was Kurt Walker. But I can remember I can remember going to it and we were obviously all like the sort of say
Yeah.
there's like a say and there was a bar and like it was the best atmosphere. And I can actually remember saying to Manuel who came with us too, and I said to Manuel on the Tuesday or Wednesday, Manuel, I'm not having a beer in Germany. I said I'm still not right from that weekend. That weekend's absolutely murdered me, and I'm not having a beer. And then Freddie texted me, he says, well, what are you doing? Having the beer? And I have a couple, like, and then obviously when you get there, you call it the whole atmosphere, but it was incredible. And then, like, I would probably say we were out singing, and you know, we drowned out the local, you know, the German guys. But I mean, I always watch back the video, and I'll always like send the clip to you, and whatever else. Like that must have been exhilarating when that towel came in.
Oh, brilliant! Brilliant. It's strange because I was shooting on his corner, full of talent, like not thinking that they would, but because also that you want to win the fight, like they throw talent us over, and I started beating them up, like, and I was like, full of talent, and I seen him and he was thinking about it, and then the talent came in, and it was just like, it was like, I knew we were all so close.
Yeah, just it was,
and I just ran to the corner and like I think celebrated. That's it's been the best feeling in my boxing career. And like you, they went to Orlando as well, and so obviously like the result creates like the memories that you have,
of course,
and it makes it much better. So like running, jumping up the rope and celebrating and seeing everybody that just like I know was a surreal feeling.
I would we'll come to obviously Orlando later, but I would probably a big statement, and I know very little about boxing and the sort of the nooks and crannies of it, but I would probably say that Padraig McCrory in Germany. I don't want to say beats because somebody will laugh at me when I say it, but I do think that Padraig McCrory there takes him at least a distance and gives him a rough night.
Yeah, I think Maria and the Berlanga and Orlando probably came 2 years too late. I think
possibly
2022, 2021. I was flying then.
Yeah,
I was 34, like, and I felt then it was like the peak of my career. I think I stopped 6 people in a row, like former world title challengers.
That was in Mexican, wasn't it? And
Mexican, yeah, Parabon. Like again, I was very much expected to win that fight, but
yeah, still have to.
Not in the fashion that I did.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was. That was the peak me, and again, I was probably I still worked. I was a part-time boxer fighting at a highly professional level, which I wouldn't advise to anybody to do. But
it's tough burning the candle.
Yeah, of course. Like you said, I'm up 5:30 every morning, going to work at 6 a.m. and then training and then back to work and sleeping. Well, yeah, then two,
yeah. And to be fair, just to touch on that, like obviously the kids, and you know, as you say, you're a full-time worker, part-time athlete. You were fighting at a full-time athlete
elite level,
sort of level, but like just to give Tish, your wife, a bit of credit, like she, in fairness to her, she holds the whole thing together when you're in camp, and I know obviously you work hard with the gym and work hard with boxing, but it's that old cliche behind every successful man's a strong woman, and
almost, yeah.
she's been I actually knew Taisha before I knew you, ironically, which was strange. Like, but I think it was only like about 6 months or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always know how supportive and how sort of concerned she was, because like we'll go again. We'll get to this point shortly, but it's tough. Like when you're watching your friend or your brother or your husband or whatever, like get the head punched up him.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you got the head punched up, but I'm saying somebody's banging you. Like if that happens on the street or if that happens somewhere else, you would probably not saying I would be any good to you, but you'd probably jump in and try and help them.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
you see that on a ring or whatever, and like it's just hard to watch. Like
I would, like as you say, like what she does, like and in fairness, she has said to me about maybe going full time and maybe going to England and going all in boxing, which again I get slightly like I shouldn't have been where I was. Imposter syndrome. Like I feel like even like Orlando, where like I'm standing there going like I probably shouldn't be here.
It's probably not the right thing to be thinking when you're about to win a fight and your hardest fight.
Like me, I'm extremely pessimistic. Yeah,
that's probably one of the biggest understatements I've heard.
But Taish, like as I say, like the things she does day to day, like as you say, like holding it all down with the kids, with their work, she's very much success in her own right as well. Like she's
smart cookie Taish.
Smart girl. She went to uni for 5 years. She's a biomedical scientist, like and also like an amazing mummy and wife. So yeah, listen, I owe a lot like to her for like what I've achieved.
Yeah, no, definitely, and like there'd be times where like you would you talk to Tish before, because obviously coming up sort of them 3-4 days in the fight week, not everyone sees this. They just see the bright lights, but you kind of, I'm lucky enough to get sort of behind the scenes, if that's what you want to call it. And like I know what the cutting weight, the camp, the not sleeping, the sort of, I know how hard it is. So generally, them last sort of 2-3 days when you're drawn out and stuff,
I'll be on
I just leave you alone because I know how. But I would always text Tyson and say hi, is he and whatever, and you know she's always like, oh, he's you know, he's a pound over, or he's okay, or he's this or he's that, and like I've always said this, that about boxers in particular, that what they put their bodies through, you know, taking out, you know, the stuff that happens in the ring, but getting to the ring, getting on them scales. I've seen it firsthand.
Yeah,
I don't know how you do it.
No,
genuinely don't know how you do it.
Just like on that, like what you put the body through. I do want to fight again, but I won't fight again unless I can get myself in the right place.
Yeah,
and that's going to be by doing it in the gym.
Yeah,
by working hard. And yeah, like as you say, like on the lead up to fight and stuff, like it's a hard week. It's cutting weight,
you're
like
grumpy boy.
you're on the edge. You're still trying to be like the daddy, and I think my last fight there was a big difference, that even Tice seen a shift that I probably wasn't in the right frame of mind, like to go in the right. Like usually I'm away, fully focused fight week back, but I was around the house and I was bending flowers and doing strange stuff. And she's like, what's this all about? Strange enough, like on the day of my fight, Matchroom do like a fight day, a 5K, and they do it in the Falls Park. And I drove from like the hotel that I was staying in at about 8:30 in the morning. Drove up, I got my son and I brought him to football, which is things that I wouldn't do on fight. I should have been locked into my fight.
Yeah,
like
no distractions.
No, and strange enough, his game was in the Falls Park. I was leaving the game and Eddie Hearn's running past me. Down the Matchroom 5K. I was like, Eddie, and he was like, all right. I went on and like, I'm fighting that night. And then after the result, I actually seen a post on social media. I put up saying like just about the fight, a post-fight post, and someone like wrote under it saying like, I seen you this morning, or like yesterday morning in the Falls Park at the Sun's football. What the hell? And I just like but it's all experience.
So, Padraig, going to do our quick fire questions. We do this with all our guests so far. So, just be interesting to hear some of your answers here. So 1 word answers, 2
I'm
word
never
answers.
usually good at these things.
No, you're not.
Never
That's
usually
right.
good at these things.
So 1, 2 word answers. Feel free to elaborate on them if you want, but we'll keep them short and sweet. Number 1, best boxing memory.
Germany.
Best opponent.
Berlanga.
Similar question, but slightly different. Hardest opponent.
Steve Collins fight 9.
Okay. Worst boxing memory.
My last fight got beat.
Craig Richards.
Craig Richards.
And these are all going to be pretty similar answers, but I'm going to ask that anyway. Best life moment to date.
Have my first child.
Faker's going to absolutely love that, isn't he? He's going to love it. Brilliant. Happy day, short and sweet. So
that sounds bad in the other 4.
it does. Go along.
Another 3.
Go along. But Billy Joe, he sort of has this bets about it. He says getting married and the birth of all my kids. But just to sort of touch on, we touched on it earlier, obviously Florida and the Berlanga fight and the build-up to it. The build-up was incredible. I actually loved the build-up to it because obviously Matchroom was involved in it, and the whole marketing of the thing was incredible. Before we talk about it, I'm going to put you on the spot here, but do you have any regrets, or would you change anything about that build-up, about the camp, about the sort of the fight itself?
I took a bit of time off work, like longer than usual. Probably took a month off to try and get in the best shape like possible for the fight. Probably not going all in. I kind of do ways that I maybe have tried something different. Not just for that fight, like in general. Maybe tried like moving away for a camp and being fully focused on boxing, because obviously when you're home, things happen. Like you're in the house with your wife and your kids. Like you're not locked into boxing, and maybe that in general, like going all in like boxing is one thing that I probably should have done.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I think, particularly there'd been, and hindsight's 2020. Everyone say, oh well, he should have done this or he should have done that, but probably with particularly the Berlanga fight, because there was so much raiding on it. It was such a big event, such a big name. Probably, it could have been a 10, 12 week camp in England, or a proper boxing camp or stuff. I'm not saying you didn't have boxing camp here, but you know what I mean, rather than doing an hour training and then going home to your kids or getting into work. I think that definitely would have had a part to play. But I remember obviously flying out to Florida, and we arrived, and the whole buzz about the place was, particularly, I always remember the day you just made weight, and then you were doing you were on stage and stuff,
ceremonial weigh-in,
and we were up on the balcony,
brilliant.
And the atmosphere was banging. And as I said earlier in the podcast, I know very little about boxing, but I remember looking at him, and he struggled with weight, or it looked like he struggled with weight.
You want to see him, like we done like the weigh-in at like 10 a.m. You want to see him, like he walked in the room and I didn't even recognize him.
Yeah,
he was half the man that he was, and I said, "Fuck, sorry, excuse me." I went, "He looks terrible. Like weight drawn, had sunglasses on, like a bit shaky on his feet, like and I was like, he held me way well, like he hasn't made the weight well." And then I think after this fight, Tony O'Neill, who got speaking like this team, and apparently he rehydrated to 220 pounds from weighing in at 168.
Well, I was going to say, what's that, 40 or 45 pound? No. Well, 50 pound?
No.
So 220, if he weighed in 168, that's 52 pound.
Oh, yeah.
That's 3 stone.
Yeah. He rehydrated.
But more, that's 3.5.
I tried to get big because I knew he was going to be big, and I get up to 188 or something.
There's only so much you can sort of boot on.
188. But he, from what we gathered, from his team, he rehydrated to 220 pounds. Mad.
That's insane. I mean, how's that even possible?
He was like a different man, right?
Yeah. Well, I can remember, like, on stage, when you were on stage and we were up in the balcony and we were all singing and shouting, and, like, as I say, I know nothing about boxing, and I remember looking at him thinking, he doesn't want this. This guy is on his he's on his knees, like.
I think
And you were pumped that day.
Yeah,
I can remember.
yeah.
I remember saying to Claire and saying, "He's off this.
Yeah.
Like, he is pumped." It was probably the first time, because I can actually remember it was Taisha was saying it when you were on stage and like you were not head to head, but you were having the face off, and like he didn't want to know that face off, and like you had him a wee tap on the back, and like we were laughing about it and saying, like, he is up for this.
I think if you've seen in the first 3 rounds, he was extremely nervous about fighting me. He did say he was just having a look or whatever, like, but technically, I think I got it wrong. We as a team got it wrong. You look the way he then get beat by Shiraz. That's the way I should have fought him. I should have walked at him like with the high guard and punched with him. And in fairness, we did like work on that during camp, but I just got it wrong tonight.
And who's to blame for that, Padraig? You, or is that D, or is that collective?
Yeah, collective. Yeah, I think I got it wrong tonight. Just like my performance just wasn't where it needed to be a man of that sort of
caliber.
The caliber. He was much faster than I expected, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, I found out on the day that it was the final eliminator, the fake canal. I was like, oh great.
Wish somebody had told me at 6 weeks ago. I could have went. I remember obviously the sort of build. So when that was all gone and then you were able to eat again, I remember obviously you were much better form because you give food and water into you. But I can remember there was me, Claire, Sean Smiley and Shannon. We were sitting out and we actually got a picture with Eddie Hearn. Eddie, to be fair, was in good form, and I can remember saying the thing, and there was nothing, nobody or nothing would have convinced me at that time that he could have beat you. I genuinely, maybe it was just blind faith, or maybe it was just a bit of naive, because I was saying I know nothing about boxing. I just thought, there's no way he'll beat you. You just look bulletproof in your head, and that's probably for me. That was always probably your weakness, and you would always say that you're pessimistic. You always almost like imposters in it, but there and then you almost look like the champion, and I thought there's no way he'll beat you. But I can always remember the ring walk. Like the ring walk was intimidating. Because we were they were loud, to be fair, the Puerto Ricans and the sort of whoever else, they were loud. But can you remember what did you call the rapper? Was it the rapper? There was a rapper doing like a gun sign to you.
Fat Joe.
And so you were doing like your ring walk and stuff. He was doing this and stuff.
Right. So I found the story after, but in the ring I was like, "What's going on? What's going on?" And
like they were loud and sort of, and what people probably didn't see on the TV. So normally in between rounds they would play like DJ music, but they were playing like Puerto Rican anthems. And the guy was on the mic and he was Puerto Rico.
Let's go,
Puerto Rico, and I was like, it was intimidating, and like there was probably maybe 100 of us, 300 of us, and they just drowned us out. To be fair, I actually lost my voice at the fight where we were screaming at now, but I think the fight, I think watching the fight, that I don't think you got the chance to not rough him up, but I don't think you got the chance, whether that be his defence was good and he was, or maybe it could have been a bit of ring, just to let him feel the power.
No,
that had been there previously.
I didn't. I think the referee probably wasn't fair me. Like I got the collar and elbow. I got hit a few big low blows and stuff. But again, I never felt like I got into the fight.
Yeah.
First couple of rounds, I felt comfortable. Then he started like picking up a wee bit, but from the elbow, my tactics changed a bit, and then he hit me low, and twice he hit me low, and the ref, they came to me, and
one of them hit you very low, like almost come up the way to you, like.
And the elbow, like the ref came to me and was like right fight, and I never asked any questions. But I said that, like, it's excuses really, like I don't want to like make any excuses. But, I like the ring walk. I was in like a Xeno type play. I don't know what it was. The ring walk. You know, like I have a sister who gets really involved, really hyped, like, and I see her, and like, if you watch it back on TV, I'm walking past her going, calm down, calm down. She just runs. I don't know how she ended up at the thing because her seats were where they were in. She's like, he's like, calm down, up in the ring.
Oh, this is mad.
But like as you say, the event itself is it's a great memory. Like going there. So the fight was first scheduled to be at the end of January in Las Vegas.
That's right. The
Fontainebleau, which is a cracking hotel. Like the fight heading in Vegas, I think like would have been even more special.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it fell back to Orlando. It's still a massive fight venue, and there's been a lot of massive events there. But when I heard that I could move from Vegas to Orlando, I was extremely disappointed actually.
Yeah.
Picture like you've been to Vegas, I've been to Vegas, like you went to it and seeing posted yourself like in Vegas, the main event, like it would have been
something special.
Right?
Even when we walked in, even the first night, I think I arrived on the Thursday, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday, I can't remember what day we arrived, and we went into the sort of hotel bar and the resort, like a huge big bar and resort, and you were all over all the sort of electronic boards. Like it was a bit surreal, to be honest with you. You were saying like Jesus, this is mad. But then I suppose, am I right in saying Berlanga went the distance with Canelo?
Yeah.
He did. I mean, that's no mean feat. You know, Canelo, arguably one of the greatest, super middleweights, and you just fell. I actually remember watching it back. You threw the counter uppercut, and you threw the uppercut and he countered you, and then you went for the same shot again.
It's such a rookie mistake.
Does it haunt you?
Now, like, in fairness, I was under pressure.
You were close. You were.
I was under pressure, and that probably just came from like muscle memory, and I threw it again. And I was close to land it.
You were fractions, like
but he just landed a big shot.
Yeah. And I think part of that is like, and that just shows you the fine margins, and maybe that was I'm not saying you've done a bad camp, but maybe you've done a better camp and worked on more strength and conditioning and a more explosive work. Where if that catches the second time, that could change the whole direction. I'm not saying you would have knocked him out, but he could have felt the power for the first time and thought, this boy can bang. Yeah, but I mean, he went on to go the distance with arguably the greatest super middleweight, particularly of this generation, but he'd be in the top 5 maybe of all time.
All time.
It's no shame. I think the zone, if I remember, had a draw. I think if I had a draw after 4 rounds. I think. I've seen that scorecard. So it wasn't like he didn't beat you up. It was a strange fight. Like, I mean, you held your own. Now he did obviously catch you a couple, but the first 4 or 5 rounds, or first 4 rounds anyway. Yeah, it wasn't like
he caught me a really good body shot at the end of the 4th, the very last punch. And Jamie told me after that when he turned, they went back to the corner. He had said his corner, like, I've got him or something, because Jimmy was like directly behind him. So I like at the time, I didn't know it, but he had like cut me in the lip where I could. It was so I've been cut there before. From Gillick, I got punched down in Ballycastle. Busted my lip.
So it was again Ballycastle's fault.
So do you know what? I got up, and I'm kind of glad I was stopped, but at the time I wanted to fight on.
Of course you did. It's fighters.
But they threw in the towel, and I think I'm happy enough. There was probably a couple of seconds left in the ring. I would have liked to get back to the corner to see if I recovered. But at that stage, the fight was probably only going to go away. Now, a punch can change a fight.
Of course.
But, like he then went on to fight Canelo and made life-changing money. Yeah. Which, if things had went the great way, would I have got that opportunity? I don't know, but I was close to it.
Yeah, I can sort of. We went back obviously to the bar, and there was a few people there. Obviously, people were, and at that stage, I actually went back to the room. I got chased, well not chased, but I took off my jacket and stuff. And I said to Claire, look, I'm not going to bargain down. I'm just going to stay here. And she says, you can't knock go down if you race back and you're not there. Or like he's going like, what's going on? Or like a couple of us went there. We'll have to go down. And I had about 2 beer for about 2 hours. I just didn't want to be there. And then you had boys, obviously, a few drinks and them talking nonsense, and the towel shouldn't come in. The towel. I suppose D was probably in D's defence. Boxing is a very, very, very dangerous sport, and that boy could bang. Berlanga was a monster of a man. Like.
He's had, what did he have, 18 first round knockouts or something?
Yeah, and if he had let that go for 15, 20 seconds, you may have got back. Yeah. He also could have put you in a coma.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
and that's the thing. People say, well, I should have let it run, but if they had let that run, you had to get seriously hurt. Everyone would have been saying bad corner work, you know, why did the corner not step in? And so it's one of them ones. But no, it's some incredible memories. And then I suppose you had 18 fights beforehand.
Yeah.
They're all easy because you win. You're on a high. Can't wait to get into the next camp. Berlanga coming off the back of it, defeat. I mean, how do you deal with that? How do you get yourself motivated to get back into a camp? And how do you deal with that loss?
It's definitely difficult. Where like you go home and you put the words, it's you, like, that's all gone then, you know what I mean? No, like social media, like leading up to that fight, I never had the negative experience like with social media. Like maybe they all comment like stupid things, like bad accounts, just like talking nonsense. But up until like Berlanga, who gets the most grief I've ever seen in my life, then started to come to me, like people call me like an Uber driver and like the Walmart like bellboy or something. So I know what, like just all madness, like. But up until that, like I didn't experience that, and then Berlanga, who gets called like Bumlanga or something like that, and he gets grief, then it spills over to me that they're saying that he's bad, which makes me much worse, you know.
I mean, I'm laughing there, I'm giggling there. You're saying about Berlanga grief. I can remember like pray with Mel and all and calling them, like when the deal was signed, and like you're a bum and you know body's coming there and got you out there, and he was replying.
He reacts.
It was brilliant, and I was commenting on the post, and he was replying and stuff, and some of the stuff he was writing in obviously English, other stuff he was writing in Spanish or whatever, and I was hilarious. Like, and I was never so glad. Who was it actually said to me? Someone actually said to me, but I said I was never so glad to see a fight being made, and I thought because Eddie Hearn is going to take out he's going to take out some form of injunction against me. I mean, it was every day, and I was like, Eddie, you're not answering my question. Can we get this fight made and whatever? And he's probably saying, who is this guy from Ireland? He's torturing me.
Between you and Colin McGuigan, I
was like every day I was talking. Like he was putting up a like a post because he'd be pretty active on social media, and he was putting up a post like, I'm going to say Anthony Joshua fighting Fury. I know it never happened, but like, and then I was commenting on it, completely nothing to do with Shooter Midland. But what about Padraig McCrory fighting Berlanga? He's probably thinking, I'm surprised he never blocked me, to be fair. And then I seen him at, it was the day after he was lying, just chilling out at the pool, and I went over and I says, Eddie, great show, and just wasn't to be one of them ones. And I said, I'm glad it happened now because I can stop harassing you on Twitter. And he just giggled, to be fair. He was in good form, like, but yeah, so just moving obviously on to, you mentioned earlier about promotion. You've had three shows now in the Devonies, three fantastic shows, to be fair. They were round pack. Highs, different pressures, different sort of frustrations. I remember the first fight.
The first show was the hardest.
Never seen luck like it.
The hardest, like,
and not good luck either.
Two cancelled flights, like back to back, like. Two of the guys were meant to come over were fighting two of the best ticket sellers, and it put me under serious pressure. And this is the thing, like if they don't come, I still have to run the show.
Yeah.
Then I take a big loss.
Probably a loss. Yeah.
So I was speaking to the matchmaker, Steve, and he said he's never seen anything like it.
Yeah,
like
I've never seen.
He's matchmaking for 20 years, and he said he's never seen luck like it. But we got it over the line. But I ended up moving him from Manchester to Leeds, to Liverpool, and then getting them over. Fair play to him, because one was nearly saying,
I'm not doing it.
No, it's not meant to be. We paid them an extra few quid, and then we got them here. But I'd done the first one on my own, which was even worse. But then the next two shows, Jimmy came on board, and we're now working like together. And they've been good shows. We had our first 50-50 with Theo beating, or he won the BUI Celtic title, which is our stable's first champion. So it's been slightly stressful, but it's only small hall boxing.
Yeah.
Which probably makes it a bit tougher because there's no big financial backing. There's no TV money. There's no TV money coming in, you know. But and the margins are very, very tight. But I enjoy boxing. I'm a boxing fan. I love being involved in it. I love being in and around it. So I'm looking forward to what's next.
I can actually remember when the first show happened, and you had rang me and says, "Oh, I can't remember exactly this, but the does it need moved? I've just had it there, man. I wasn't sure. Is that better? Because I had it with me at work.
We had it on my head there.
So,
Did it?
Them headphones.
I is sensitive. I'll just pick that back up from where I was, yeah, and then you'll patch up.
Yes, 100%.
You just give me a wee nod.
Yeah.
But I remember saying to you on the first fight, I can't remember exactly what the airport was, but it was cancelled. Like, and I've been travelling for the last, I don't know, 12, more actually, probably 15 years for work.
Yeah.
I've never had a flight cancelled on me, ever. Now, I've had delayed flights. You got 3 flights cancelled. You got the Leeds flight cancelled.
Yeah.
You had to get them a new flight out of Leeds. It get cancelled. You had to get them to Manchester. It get cancelled. And then I had to get them to Liverpool. I've never seen anything like it. Like, as I said, I've never had
some mad knock-on effect.
It was just...
And then because so they just changed the first flight, and then it was cancelled. So then they just cancelled it. There was nothing they could do, so we had to rebook flight. Actually, never got any the compensation from it. Just the refund. That was it. Which I thought you got compensation. I don't know. Maybe I just can't do it right. But
you probably didn't torture them enough.
No.
Get Barry on the Barry gets compensation.
But it was that day I thought, is this show going to go ahead? Because if they hadn't come, the show falls on its face, and like I probably still would have just I took the hit, like, but
that's a wee bit of pride too, isn't it? Like, it's
like
a wee bit of pride. Or your first step in the promotion.
The thing is, if the first one doesn't go ahead, then it probably never it'll probably never happen again. Yeah, and people will then think it was my fault because I'm only new to it and I didn't do things right when
rookie mistakes and stuff.
When that wasn't the case.
Yeah, no, definitely not. No, I can attest to that. But thankfully, the lads get in, and it was a cracking show to be fair. It was a really good show, and we and then you're saying there obviously about Theo. Theo won the PUI. It's like deja vu, and back in your first title, first stable champ. He looks he was that's probably the best I've seen him, but he looks like he's got a wee bit of stardust about him, a wee bit of charisma, a good ticket seller.
Yeah, a great ticket seller. The people from Toronto and Cookstown, like, they really get behind him. He's a nice guy.
He is a nice guy.
He's like me. He's 30. He's only had 6 fights now, so he needs to move faster. And like at the smaller weights, it's a bit harder because they rely more on speed, and being explosive. Where at the bigger weights, it's a bit slower. So your career can go on a bit longer.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a good fighter. He's leading the way, like, for the stable. I have 4 fighters now. So yeah, I am going to build it, but I want to be able to keep my guys active. Belfast isn't a big place.
No,
there isn't loads of shows. Without the likes of Lewis Crocker and Aldo Kakachi bringing the big names back, it's difficult to get them all out. So.
And I suppose too, it's hard from a venue point of view because there's only, I suppose, there's only so much shows you can do in the deadline.
Yeah.
You got to make that leap. I mean, Tim Conlon will be fuming. The fact that you're going to probably one day make that leap because he loves to have the shows there.
Yeah.
But it's as you're kind of saying there, you then step up to the Ulster Hall. With the Ulster Hall's big risk because there's big costs associated with it. If it doesn't sell out, then you're what have I done? But no, it's good to see that Jamie's obviously come in. Jamie's good help. He's obviously got the experience of running big shows and
has all the contacts. Has like, we brought TV to small hall boxing, like, first time I think it's been done in Danish. that's thanks to Jimmy, like, yeah.
Yeah. No, Jimmy's he's a good lad. I've actually a bit of time with Jimmy to
Yeah.
be fair, and he's knowledgeable, he's experienced. He's a good man to have on board with you. Hopefully onwards and upwards.
Yeah.
Just brings me just to our last point, the dreaded word, retirement.
Mhm.
The amount of people that come up to me and say to me, "Is he retiring?" I have no idea.
Yeah.
Say, you must know. I don't think he knows. I genuinely don't know. I don't think he wants to retire. I think
Yeah.
he wants one last big roulette dice, or who knows. But the amount of people come to me and say, "Well, is he going?" You must know.
No, people actually think that I am retired. Like people saying that now you're retired, and like what are you going to do? And I'm not. Like, I do want to fight again.
Mhm.
But as I say, I have to be able to do it in the gym first. And if I don't think I'm capable of doing it, then I'm not going to fight. I don't think it's either going to be a big fight for decent dough, or it's going to be like a celebration type fight,
Farewell.
a fight that I should win and say farewell and just say thanks to everybody for
go out on a win.
like for coming, like for the journey of 8 years or 9 years coming. So the middle of the road fights, like the fights that are going to progress my career,
They're no good.
like the next step probably isn't what I'm looking at the minute. If I take a big test and I go and win, then that's a different story.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do want to fight again. I've been training like the last 3 or 4 weeks now over in Dan's place. Dan Anderson. So
Madman.
nothing.
Absolute madman.
Dan the man.
He cornered me at the fights. I was at the fights, and I was driving that night, getting some of the guys back and forth
Helping
to the
show it.
hotel, and I was on the sort of team VIP stage, if you want to call it that, and he came and he sat beside me, mate, and there's no harm in him, but that man will do some waffling. And at this stage,
He's a talker.
Oh, mate, I at this stage was obviously, as I say, sober, and he had like 5 pints in him. My God. And then he had said to me, are you going to the christening? Because it was
Next day,
it's just christening, but he didn't know I was standing for the chair. And I said, I don't know, man, I may pop my head. And he said, I'll see you there. I thought, oh my God. But it wasn't too bad the next day, because I was as drunk as him, so it's not as bad. But he's a good spud, but God, that man can waffle.
He can talk.
But it's
Boxing mad though, he
he means well. And
loves the boxing,
I think his heart's in the right place, to be fair. Just to touch on there, you had saying, like, before you commit yourself to anything, you need to get it right in the gym. I mean, I can always remember Carl Frampton always saying that you don't play boxing.
Yeah.
You play football, you play Gaelic, you play rugby or whatever. You don't play boxing. You go in there and you're not at it.
Yeah.
You can literally die.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like you've got guys in there, strong, fit athletes, basically trying to hurt you, trying to take your head off. And if you've been half-hearted in camp, you get yourself seriously hurt, regardless of how much money's on the line.
Yeah,
you know,
I get, so just talking about, like, after my last fight, a lot of people expected me to, like, retire, because of my performance, because I wasn't the same fighter that night, and
just to finish off, probably actually just like you mentioned this earlier on, and Taisha had seen, why weren't you? What happened there? Was it a camp? Was it just your heart wasn't in it? Talk to me about that.
yeah, so, like, I probably only got around 6 weeks notice for that fight. I kind of knew that I may have been fighting, and one thing, again, as I say, I've never been all in boxing, and probably as much, I probably did play boxing a bit,
yeah,
rather than like going all in. But there was an event leading up to that, and again, I don't like to keep, like, bringing it up, but unfortunately, there was a show at the Ulster Hall, and John Cooney lost his life, from events that happened, like, in the ring, and like, I took that Tasha was expecting our 4th baby, and I started, like, I found myself lying in bed at night going, like, if something did happen to me and like that night, I would never meet my like, unborn child, and stuff like that,
and potentially leave your kids orphans.
Yeah,
but well, I don't mean obviously Tash would be, but you know what I mean. Like, so it's
So, but on the night, I think I get rid of, like, a lot of them demons, as much as I did before. I was in the ring, I was taking shots, and I like I realized that night that I'm capable of it,
Mm-hmm.
like without performing. On the build up, I took myself away to England for about 10 days to try and find a wee spark,
Yeah.
and I was due to spar Bawatsi on the Wednesday, and on the Tuesday we were all doing a wee bit of like tack sparring. And the smallest guy in the gym, he's like a super bantamweight, he's small guy, get boom, and he cut me. It was like 3 weeks out from the fight, 4 weeks out from the fight, and I got cut.
That's right.
And then I couldn't spar, and like them valuable rounds at my age
Yeah.
against like Bawatsi, who had beat Richards actually.
Good fighter.
Yeah.
Like, not forget.
I didn't get, and then I stuck with it. I knew I was semi-fit. I knew I was fit enough to fight. And I was like, right, let's get the fight night. A few niggles, a few injuries, the cut, no lack of sparring, preparation didn't go great. And I thought, let's get it. It's a massive event, matchroom event. I'm co-main event. I'll get there. I'll walk to the ring, and
I'll click.
Mm. Everything will be okay. It always comes together. But the fight week, nothing felt the way it usually
Even
does.
the press conference, you weren't at yourself. Like
Nah.
me and Manuel were obviously down at it, and I was like, you just looking back in hindsight, it just wasn't there.
Yeah.
I don't know, as you said, like you were out at Figures football and stuff. And look, not forgetting Craig Richards. It's not like he was a journeyman.
Well, you know,
Craig Richards, good
yeah,
fighter. I think
yeah.
he fought for a world title, or he won a world title? Was it?
He fought Bivol. Bivol.
That's what it was, yeah.
And got beat by a point.
Yeah, so
And Bivol's pound great, like.
yeah, you know, so it was
So,
like,
always be
again,
fair.
you've had 2 defeats in your
Yeah.
career and 2 elite operators.
Yeah.
You know,
Again, Richards, a very good operator, but I think me 2021, 2022,
beat him.
22 beat him, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not a guy that like blows me own trumpet or says stuff that I don't believe in, but I genuinely do believe that. I believe I beat him more than I think I might have had a chance against Berlanga if it was me at my peak, but I think I definitely beat Craig Richards.
Yeah, like, as I said there, like Berlanga was he was a shrewd operator, you know, and he went on to hold his own. So be it. Canelo got the decision, rightly so, but I mean, he held his own again.
Yeah.
That's no mean feat, because Canelo's hitting you like a horse.
Yeah.
You know, that man's a monster. Just to finish off, obviously we touched on your promotional business and your management and stuff. What's the sort of immediate plans when that dark day comes and you have to hang up the gloves, whenever that may be?
Yeah.
What is the plans for afterwards?
So I think first, me and Jimmy speaking about doing a show at the waterfront in February.
Right. Okay.
So that's the plan. But I think when I retire from boxing, I'm a personal trainer. Like I run a small business. It's successful. I kind of runs itself. But I think eventually I could see myself going down the road, like the route of opening up a small gym, running a small business from it, but also boxing management and boxing coaching out of it. I never actually thought I wanted to be a coach, like, until recently. And I think there's a gap. I don't think we have loads of coaches in Belfast. I think there's a gap there. So
I actually think, sorry for interrupting you, I actually think it was Ryan Burnett, I think, said it on Sean McComb's podcast, that there's no boxing gyms, there's no professional boxing gyms in Belfast.
Yeah.
He said, because Sean was saying that obviously Ryan's story was well documented, they had to go away and he was on their Hattons stable and stuff, and it was actually, Sean had said, apart from your amateur clubs like Holy Trinity and places like that, he says there's no professional boxing gyms in Belfast, which I found, considering like the world champions.
Well, so there's Anderson boxing now, so Dan has his own place now, like, but most others coach out of the amateur gyms, like Mary Hawkins and stuff. So yeah. So when I go to England, the ad train, I go to New Era is business. It's the old Booth's gym.
Oh, Alan Booth.
I think that like business model could work in Belfast. Like kind of a boxing themed space that essentially is a professional boxing hub. But again, Belfast, it's a city, but per capita to like London to Manchester to like these big cities, we don't have the numbers, and it, there's a lot of like small group personal training gyms now in Belfast that you take a risk pumping a lot of money into like a unit, getting it set up, and
not paying off.
If it doesn't pay off, then you're in the hole again.
Yeah, no, it's I suppose the good thing about you, and it was evident over your career, like you'd be reasonably popular, you'd be very well supported, and I'd be fairly sure if you did go down the road of, you know, your own gym or own coaching, there'd be a lot of people that would sort of give you the business. So just remember, when you've got the biggest gym at Belfast and you're Belfast answer to Eddie Hearn, don't forget your friend. When you're making millions, make sure you come and give me a few quid.
You're known like in the groups as Mickey Millions.
Oh, geez, I don't know about that. I wish I had the millions people thought I had to be flying. But Padraig, listen, we've came to the end. Thank you very much for being so open and honest and being here. I say, I know you get tortured to do these things and probably do your head on a bit, but thank you, really appreciate it.
Thank you, mate.
Good man. Thank you. Cheers. Hi everyone, just finished a fantastic episode with Padraig McCrory. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.